May 5, 1945. Okinawa, Japan. The Battle of Hacksaw Ridge. American forces are being slaughtered. Machine gun fire, mortars, artillery. The Japanese have turned the 400-foot cliff into a killing ground. Hundreds of wounded American soldiers are trapped on top of the ridge, bleeding out, dying, screaming for help. The assault has failed. The order is given. Retreat. Leave the wounded. There's no way to save them. But one man refuses. Private First Class Desmond Doss stays behind, alone, unarmed. You see, Desmond Doss is a combat medic, but he's different from every other soldier in the U.S. Army. He's a conscientious objector. He refuses to carry a weapon, won't touch a gun, won't kill another human being under any circumstances. His fellow soldiers called him a coward. Officers tried to discharge him. Men in his own unit threatened to shoot him. But on May 5, 1945, while everyone else retreated, Desmond Doss stayed on Hacksaw Ridge. And over the next 12 hours, he single-handedly lowered 75 wounded men down that cliff, one by one, under constant enemy fire. No weapon, no backup, just his faith, a rope, and a prayer he repeated with every man he saved. Please, Lord, help me get one more. This is the story of the soldier who never fired a bullet, but became one of the greatest heroes in American military history. Act 1. The Boy Who Couldn't Kill, 1919 to 1942. February 7, 1919, Lynchburg, Virginia. Desmond Thomas Doss is born into a devout Seventh-day Adventist family. His father, Thomas, is a carpenter, a World War I veteran who came home broken. PTSD before they had a name for it. He drinks heavily, becomes violent. Young Desmond witnesses his father's rage, sees what war does to men. It plants a seed in him. Violence destroys everything it touches. His mother, Bertha, is deeply religious. She raises Desmond and his siblings with strict Adventist beliefs. No work on Saturdays, the Sabbath. No alcohol, no tobacco. And most importantly, thou shalt not kill. The Doss family has a framed poster on their wall. It shows the 10 Commandments with illustrations. The 6th commandment, thou shalt not kill, shows Cain murdering Abel. Young Desmond stares at that image for hours. He can't understand how one brother could kill another. He makes a promise to himself, I will never take another human life. Desmond is 16. His father comes home drunk, gets into a fight with his uncle. The argument turns violent. Thomas Doss pulls a gun, points it at his own brother. Desmond's mother screams. Desmond jumps between them. He takes the gun from his father's hand, gives it to his mother, tells her to call the police. In that moment, holding that weapon, he feels disgust. This is what guns do. They turn family members into potential murderers. He vows he'll never hold one again. December. Japan has attacked Pearl Harbor. America is at war. Young men across the country are enlisting. Desmond is working at a shipyard in Newport News, a reserved occupation that exempts him from the draft. He could sit out the war safely, but Desmond's conscience won't let him. Men are dying. They need medics. He can save lives without taking them. He enlists, April 1, 1942. At the recruitment office, he specifies, I will serve as a medic only. I am a conscientious objector. I will not carry a weapon. The recruiter looks at him like he's insane. You understand you're going to war, right? Men will be shooting at you. Desmond's response is, that's why they'll need medics. He's assigned to the 77th Infantry Division, sent to basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And that's where his nightmare begins. Act 2. The Coward at Fort Jackson. 1942 to 1944. Fort Jackson, 1942. Desmond Doss arrives for basic training. He's 23 years old, skinny, soft-spoken, polite, and he absolutely refuses to touch a rifle. His drill instructors are furious. Every soldier in the U.S. Army must complete rifle training. No exceptions. Desmond's response: "I am a conscientious objector. It's against my religious beliefs." To the Army, this is unacceptable. To his fellow soldiers, it's cowardice. They make his life hell. During rifle drills, while other recruits practice shooting, Desmond stands to the side. The instructors scream at him, call him a coward, a disgrace, a liability. His bunkmates are worse. They see him as a threat. If this guy won't fight, he's putting their lives in danger. They beat him, steal his belongings, spit on him, put his boots in the latrine. One soldier tells him directly, "If we go into combat with you, I'll make sure you don't come back." Desmond never fights back, never retaliates. He just keeps showing up. His commanding officers try a different approach. They attempt to have him discharged on psychiatric grounds, claim he's mentally unfit for service. Desmond refuses to accept the discharge. He wants to serve, just not with a weapon. The Army offers a compromise: become a non-combatant, work in a medical unit stateside, never see combat. Desmond refuses. He didn't enlist to stay safe. He enlisted to save lives where they are most at risk, on the battlefield. For months, the standoff continues. The Army trying to get rid of him, Desmond refusing to leave, but also refusing to carry a weapon. His father even hires a lawyer, threatens to sue the Army for religious discrimination. The case goes all the way to the Pentagon. Finally, a decision comes down. Desmond Doss can serve as a combat medic without carrying a weapon, but he must complete all other aspects of training. It's a partial victory, but the harassment doesn't stop. During field exercises, his unit deliberately leaves him behind. When he requests help, they ignore him. They're hoping he'll quit. Desmond doesn't quit. There's one more problem. Seventh-day Adventists observe the Sabbath from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. No work, no training. Every Saturday, Desmond refuses to participate in drills. His commanders threaten him with court-martial for insubordination. Desmond stands firm. "My faith is non-negotiable." Somehow, he survives basic training, moves on to advanced medical training. He's assigned to the 77th Infantry Division, Company B, 1st Battalion, 307th Infantry Regiment. The 77th ships out. First stop, Guam, then Leyte in the Philippines. These are Desmond's first combat experiences. And something strange happens. While under fire, while artillery shells are exploding around him, Desmond runs toward the wounded. Not away, toward. He treats injuries under fire, carries men to safety, saves lives. His fellow soldiers start to see him differently. This guy might be crazy, but he's not a coward. But the real test is still coming. May 5th, 1945. The 77th Infantry Division receives new orders. Okinawa, the final push toward mainland Japan, and specifically, a fortress the Japanese have built on a 400-foot cliff. The Americans will call it Hacksaw Ridge, and it will be the deadliest place on Earth.
Act 3. Hacksaw Ridge, the Meat Grinder. April 29, 1945. The 77th Infantry Division lands on Okinawa. The island is Japan's last line of defense. Lose Okinawa, and the Japanese mainland is vulnerable to invasion. The Japanese know this. They've fortified the island with 100,000 troops, built an intricate system of caves, tunnels, and defensive positions. At the center of their defenses, Maeda Escarpment, a 400-foot cliff face, sheer rock, a natural fortress. The Americans need to take it. There's no way around it. They call it Hacksaw Ridge. April 29th, the first assault. American forces climb cargo nets to reach the top of the cliff. It's the only way up. The moment they reach the top, the Japanese open fire. Machine guns, mortars, artillery. The Americans are caught in a kill zone. Men are cut down by the dozens. Those who survive dive into foxholes, pinned down, unable to advance, unable to retreat. The fighting continues for days. Every assault is repelled. Every yard gained costs dozens of lives. Desmond Doss is there for all of it. While bullets fly, he crawls from foxhole to foxhole, treats wounded men, ties tourniquets, administers morphine, drags soldiers to safety. He has no weapon to defend himself. When the Japanese attack, he hides. When they retreat, he goes back to work. His fellow soldiers watch him in amazement. This man they called a coward is the bravest person they've ever seen. May 2nd, another assault. Same result, more casualties. Desmond works through the night, treating wounded, carrying men on stretchers back to the cliff edge where they can be lowered down. He doesn't sleep, barely eats, just works. May 4th, the Japanese launch a counterattack. They overrun American positions, soldiers retreat in chaos. Desmond is separated from his unit, trapped behind enemy lines with a dozen wounded men. For 12 hours, he hides them in a foxhole. When the Japanese pass by, he holds his breath. When they're gone, he treats injuries. At dawn, American forces retake the position. Desmond walks out carrying 2 wounded men. His captain stares at him in disbelief. "We thought you were dead." Desmond's response? "Not yet, sir. Still got work to do." May 5th, the day that will make Desmond Doss a legend. Another assault is ordered, the largest yet. The 77th is going to take Hacksaw Ridge or die trying. The attack begins at dawn. American forces swarm up the cargo nets, reach the top of the ridge, and walk straight into hell. The Japanese have been waiting. They unleash everything: machine guns, grenades, artillery, flamethrowers. The American line breaks. Men are killed instantly. Wounded soldiers cry for medics. Desmond runs toward the screaming, not away, toward. He treats a wounded soldier, drags him to the cliff edge, fashions a rope harness, lowers him down the 400-foot drop. Then he goes back for another. The Japanese are firing at him. Bullets kick up dirt around his feet. Mortar shells explode nearby. Desmond doesn't stop. He prays the same prayer with every man. "Please, Lord, help me get one more." 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 5, 5 becomes 10. The assault fails. The order is given: retreat. All able-bodied men pull back. Desmond stays. There are still wounded men on the ridge. For the next 12 hours, he works alone, finding wounded soldiers, treating them, dragging them to the cliff edge, lowering them down one by one. 75 men, one at a time. Under constant fire, without food, without water, without rest. Just Desmond Doss, a rope, and his faith. By nightfall, every wounded American soldier has been evacuated from Hacksaw Ridge. Desmond is the last man off the cliff. When he finally descends, his hands are torn and bleeding from the rope. He's dehydrated, exhausted beyond measure. But he's alive. And so are 75 men who would have died without him. The captain of B Company approaches him, the same officer who once tried to have Desmond discharged. He salutes, says, "You did a hell of a thing up there, Doss." Desmond's response, "Just doing my job, sir." Act 4, The Final Battles, May 1945. The battle for Hacksaw Ridge isn't over. For the next 2 weeks, the 77th continues the assault, taking ground, losing ground, fighting for every inch. Desmond is there for all of it, still unarmed, still saving lives. May 21st, the 77th finally takes Hacksaw Ridge. The Japanese defenses collapse. But there's no time to celebrate. The division is immediately sent to another battle, the assault on the Shuri Line. More fighting, more casualties, more work for Desmond. During one battle, Desmond is treating a wounded soldier when a grenade lands next to them. He doesn't run. He covers the wounded man with his own body, absorbs the blast. Shrapnel tears into his leg and side. He's badly wounded. But the soldier underneath is unharmed. He treats his own wounds, keeps working, treats other injured men before allowing himself to be evacuated. As he's being carried on a stretcher toward an aid station, artillery shells start falling. Desmond sees another wounded soldier lying exposed. He rolls off his own stretcher, tells the medics to take the other man first. While waiting for the medics to return, Desmond is hit again. A sniper's bullet shatters his left arm. He fashions a splint from a rifle stock, irony he's not blind to, and crawls 300 yards to the aid station. By the time he arrives, he's lost massive amounts of blood. The doctors don't think he'll survive. But he does, because Desmond Doss is hard to kill. He's evacuated to a hospital ship, then transported to the United States. His war is over. He spent 9 months in combat, survived 2 of the deadliest battles of the Pacific War, saved countless lives, and he never fired a single shot.
Act 5. The Hero Who Wouldn't Kill, 1945 to 2006. October 12, 1945. The White House, Washington, D.C. President Harry S. Truman is presenting the Medal of Honor to a group of soldiers, the highest military decoration in the United States. Among them, Private First Class Desmond Doss. The citation reads, quote, "He was a company aidman when the 1st Battalion assaulted a jagged escarpment 400 feet high. He refused to seek cover and remained in the fire-swept area with the many stricken, carrying them one by one to the edge of the escarpment and there lowering them on a rope-supported litter down the face of a cliff to friendly hands." Desmond becomes the first conscientious objector in American history to receive the Medal of Honor. The same army that tried to discharge him as mentally unfit now calls him a hero. The same soldiers who threatened to shoot him now call him the bravest man they've ever known. President Truman shakes his hand, says, "I'm proud of you. You really deserve this. I consider this a greater honor than being president." But for Desmond, the medal is bittersweet. He's been awarded honor for actions taken during war, but he never wanted to be honored for war. He wanted to save lives. That was always the mission. Desmond returns to Virginia, marries his sweetheart, Dorothy Shute. They'd gotten engaged before he shipped out. He tries to resume a normal life, but the war has taken its toll. His injuries from Okinawa are severe. He's deaf in one ear from explosions. His arm never fully heals. He develops tuberculosis from his time in the Pacific, loses a lung and 5 ribs to the disease. For the rest of his life, he's in constant pain. But Desmond never complains, never regrets his decision to serve. He becomes a humble carpenter, lives quietly, attends church every Saturday. When people ask him about the war, he deflects, doesn't like talking about himself, doesn't consider himself a hero. His wife Dorothy dies in 1991. They'd been married 47 years. Desmond is devastated. But he remarries in 1993, Frances Duman, a widow he meets at church. In his later years, Desmond finally agrees to tell his story. He speaks at schools,
military events, churches. His message is always the same. You don't need to kill to have courage. Real courage is protecting life, not taking it. March 23, 2006. Desmond Doss dies at his home in Alabama. He's 87 years old. Thousands attend his funeral. Veterans, active duty soldiers, people whose lives he saved. Former soldiers from the 77th Division, now elderly men, stand and salute. One veteran says, "He was the bravest man I ever knew, and he never carried a gun." Director Mel Gibson releases Hacksaw Ridge, a film about Desmond's story. It's nominated for 6 Academy Awards. A new generation learns about the soldier who wouldn't kill. At the film's premiere, veterans of Hacksaw Ridge, now in their 90s, are in attendance. A reporter asks one of them, "Is the movie accurate?" The veteran responds, "They toned it down. What Doss actually did was more unbelievable than what you see on screen." Today, at the National Museum of the United States Army, Desmond Doss's Medal of Honor is on display. Next to it is a simple wooden cross, the one he carried with him through every battle, and a plaque with his prayer, "Please, Lord, help me get one more." Closing reflection. Final 2 minutes. What does it mean to be brave? We usually think of courage in terms of violence, the soldier charging into battle, the warrior defeating enemies, the fighter who never backs down. Desmond Doss challenges that definition entirely. He showed more courage than most soldiers ever will, but he never fired a shot. He ran toward danger while others ran away, but he did it to save, not to kill. He endured hatred, persecution, and violence from his own countrymen, but he never responded with hatred. That's not weakness. That's strength beyond measure. Think about what Desmond did. He volunteered for war while knowing he'd be defenseless, knowing his fellow soldiers might hate him, knowing he could die at any moment. Most soldiers have the comfort of a weapon, the ability to fight back, to defend themselves. Desmond had nothing but his faith and his medical kit. And when everyone else retreated from Hacksaw Ridge, he stayed, alone, unarmed. That's not just brave, that's transcendent. The men who called him a coward learned the truth that courage isn't about killing. It's about conviction, about doing what's right, even when the whole world tells you you're wrong. Desmond Doss saved 75 lives on Hacksaw Ridge, but his real legacy isn't a number. It's the proof that you can be a warrior without being a killer. That you can fight for your country without compromising your beliefs. That the strongest weapon isn't a gun. It's an unshakable faith in the value of human life. Every person Desmond saved went home to their families, had children, built lives. Multiply that across generations, and Desmond's actions on May 5, 1945, have created thousands of lives that otherwise wouldn't exist. All because one man prayed, "Please, Lord, help me get one more," and then did it 75 times. That's not just heroism, that's holiness.